Why did you feel it was important to be here?
Yeah, I mean, that's just something that I've always done. Trying to be here, get the reps in, get to working with the guys, and just start building that chemistry and getting ready for the season.
Do you have an idea of when you would like that done? Has your agent said you're not stepping on the field for a preseason game until you have a deal done or something like that?
No, and so I don't really know what's going on, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm not going to get into too much contract stuff.
Would you be comfortable playing under the current deal, or is that something that you don't want to do at this point?
We'll see. I don't know yet. We'll see.
How much, looks like y'all had just about 100% attendance. How much your decision to come out here was to kind of show that leadership, to kind of convince the other guys to join you and be here for their voluntary workouts as well?
Yeah, I think that's always a part of it, just showing up, and the other guys will follow too. But it's a testament to everybody wanting to be here, wanting to get that work in. Obviously, new defense going in, so those guys are eager to get out here, get those reps in, and learn what they're doing. But yeah, it's just a testament to everybody being able to show up here.
How different do you feel this year now as a 1 year fully entrenched starter, having that experience under your belt coming into this season?
Yeah, I feel a little bit more comfortable. Obviously had a full season to get a lot of reps and learn and grow, so definitely feel a lot more comfortable each year I've been here, and this year even more so.
From a body standpoint, this is the first time in several years that you've had a full season then going into the off season. Have you had to do anything different with your body to try to just get yourself back to where you want to be?
No, I was pretty healthy leaving the season. Just little bumps and bruises, things like that. So I took some time off, but my off-season schedule stayed the same as it's usually been. Take a little bit of time off and then get back to it. But it helps when you don't have to rehab and deal with any injuries, things like that.
Was there a turning point for you last year? For us on the outside looking in, we can say, okay, this game, that game, whatever. But did the light go on? Did something click at a certain point?
No, I don't think there was any one game in particular. I think throughout the season, every game, I learned so many, valuable lessons in every rep I took. So I feel like about halfway through is when I just started getting really comfortable, understanding more where I need to go with the ball, what I need to do out there to put our team in the best position, and just limit the mistakes, things like that. But I feel like every game I played, I learned a little bit and got a little bit more comfortable.
Matt says you become more comfortable using your voice as a leader during this off-season program. Do you feel that way, A? And B, what does that look like? What things are you more comfortable saying and getting involved with? In that?
Yeah, definitely. I think my leadership's growing every year, even more now. I think it was tough, when Aaron was still the quarterback and I was the backup, to try and be in that leadership role and tell guys one thing when he might want something said differently. So that was always tough, and obviously now being the guy last year, I try to elevate that role and just talk to guys more, being in guys' ear a little bit more, and just try and focus on being a better leader, things like that, talking to guys. So I think the more reps I get, the more comfortable I get, the better I get with these relationships with guys in here. It gets easier. So it's definitely something I've got better at every year.
Talk about being more comfortable. Last year, we're tracking every single throw you make at OTAs, even when you don't have to. So it's uncertainty, right? It just doesn't exist now. How does it feel different being the guy, knowing that you're the guy now? It is different than last year. How does that manifest for you?
Yeah, I'd say, it helps every player. I feel like when you have that, that belief in the organization and guys around you that you're going to be here. So I think it does help you be more comfortable. But I think all of it is just being here, having another year under my belt. Coming into this is going on my fifth, or really my fourth OTA. So like I said before, every rep I've got more comfortable, and the plays are coming to me easier now. It's not my first time learning this playbook and things like that. So I think everything's just coming to me. The game's coming to me easier. So I definitely feel a lot more comfortable.
Getting more comfortable with where to go with the ball midway through last year, did that start in meetings? Did that start during games on the field? When did you start to sense that? What part of the year?
Yeah, I think all of those things are important. It starts in the meeting room. We go over the film, being able to talk through where I need to be going with the ball, little mistakes I might make, and just being able to learn in the meeting room. And then obviously you got to take it to the field and practice, and you got to make it come to life. So I think all the phases are important. It starts in the meeting room. That's why I think it's so important that guys are here. We get to watch all the reps from last year, learn from the plays, focus on what plays we want to do better this year and things like that. So I think everything's important. Meeting room, practice, games, all ties in.
Last year you had approximately 1 million new targets to get used to, and second you guys as well. What's it like this year when you don't draft a wideout this season, you have a lot of guys that are back that are used to their roles. In what ways is the practice today different than it was, say, a year ago?
Yeah, it's night and day. I mean, last year you have a lot of guys, young receivers that are, learning the playbook, that, the timing, the chemistry is just not really there yet. And, we go out there today and, it's just night and day. Guys know exactly where they're going to be at. We have so much chemistry from last year and built up reps that, we just kind of have a good feel and chemistry and know where guys are going to be at and know what we need to do. So it's definitely a big difference.
How tough was it to see Aaron Jones go, and then what have your interactions with Josh Jacobs been like so far?
Yeah, it was very tough. Aaron Jones is such a special player, and he was a special guy in this locker room since I've been here. So, everybody loved Aaron, and it's very tough. But, it's one of those things that you can't control. But then obviously getting Josh here, it's been awesome, man. I'm excited to see him on the field, but he's an awesome player. He's an awesome teammate so far. So it's been good getting to know him, and I'm excited to see what he can do this year.
Jordan, what have you seen from Christian Watson this offseason?
Growth. I mean, I feel like Christian, he's been a guy, obviously, going from his rookie year to last year, he took a big stride, and then going to this year, I mean, he's already making plays out there. But like I said before, you know where he's gonna be. This isn't his first rodeo, so just the consistency is going to keep picking up. But Christian's an awesome player, and same with all the receivers.
If you can get a full season from where he stays healthy all year, just what kind of difference can he make to this offense?
Yeah, huge difference. I mean, that's the key, is trying to stay healthy throughout the season, so we can have him out there every game, which is something I know he's working hard on. But he's a difference maker when he's out there. He's a playmaker, and just having all of our weapons out there is key.
After watching some of the film this past offseason, coming into this summer and this offseason, was there something that you want to work on specifically coming into your second year as a starter?
Yeah, I mean, there's always little things. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is just staying poised in the pocket, being able to, stay balanced in the pocket. Sometimes I get out of whack with my feet and I might start drifting in the pocket a little bit too much. So just pocket awareness, making smaller moves, and understanding, when I might got to get out of there, but also, throwing on the run, being able to escape the pocket and make those off-schedule plays is something I worked a good amount on. But also just being comfortable, seeing the defense, going back, watching that tape, seeing things I could have done different with picking up protections and, things that I wasn't doing earlier on that I started being able to pick up on later in the season. But I think the big thing for me is just pocket movement, making smaller movements.
Matt said he's not a huge fan of 7-on-7, but it serves a purpose to make sure the footwork is absolutely precise with no rush around you. Do you see the value in 7-on-7? And he also said if the footwork isn't precise, he lets you guys know. Is that accurate? Is he letting you guys know?
Oh, yeah. Matt, I mean, that's the good thing about Matt. He's always going to coach you up. He's never going to let you take a day off or anything like that. Especially with the quarterbacks, he's going to be in the room coaching us up and, always pointing out any little key that we might need to focus on. But 7-on-7, I think is great. Just getting reps, getting back out here and doing some live periods against the defense is great. But yeah, I mean, you'd obviously rather be doing full team periods, but you can't do that right now. So 7-on-7 gets the job done.
What looks different about your defense from what you can see looking across the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different defense. Last year was a lot more match. So it's a different kind of zone look that they're showing, a little bit more man. So right now we're trying to figure out what they're doing right now. We don't have any tape on them, so we haven't really watched it. So we're going to first look at it when we get out there on the field, which is awesome. Obviously you get, fresh look, something that you haven't gone against. But it's definitely a different defense.
Jordan Morgan had mentioned during rookie camp that when you came up to him the first time, he kind of froze a little bit. Like, that's actually Jordan loved it.
Yeah.
One, did you notice that? And two, just kind of what's that like now? Still a pretty young guy, but sort of being in that captain's chair.
Yeah, I mean, it was the first time I ever heard anything like that. So it was obviously it's different. I'm just myself. Don't think anything like that. But I didn't really notice it. They came in their first day, but you could tell the rookies are wide-eyed, just first time being in the locker room and being around the guys. So, it's cool just to be able to say what's up. And, there's a lot on their plate. They're coming in. They're focused on the new playbook they're learning and, figuring out everybody's name. So it's a lot going on for them, and I understand that. I've been there before. So, yeah.
Do they know better not to ask you about a contract, or is there still jokes around that here and there?
No, I mean, I don't think that. I think that's like the last thing they're thinking of when they first get in here. So, we always joke about them talking about their signing bonus, things like that. So we joke with them about that. I don't think they're ready for that. Yeah.
Hey, Jordan, you were probably playing the position better than anybody at the end of last season. Mm-hmm. You're not the type to get complacent. But what are you expecting now that defenses have a year of 17 games or 19 games of film. They know maybe what some of your best strengths are, and maybe they're looking to poke holes. I mean, what's the challenge to make sure that you confirm what you did during the second half and keep elevating the game?
Yeah, I feel like that's always a challenge in football. I mean, teams, they spend that whole offseason scouting. Obviously our coaching staff spends that whole time scouting other teams and looking at what they did, and that's what other teams are doing to us. So, going into this year, the team's going to have a better feel of what we do, what we did good, and that's their job to try and figure out how they're going to stop that. So, I think that's the fun part about the NFL is you're always getting everybody's best. You're always getting the best competition, and you yourself got to find ways to get better. And when teams do a good job at stopping a certain concept or things like that, you got to find new answers. So that's always the fun part of going back and forth, playing that chess game. But at the end of the day, we got a very good coaching staff that's going to put us in the best position, and we'll also be able to adjust to what defenses might be doing and taking away from us, and we'll learn on the fly.
And I don't think you're a complacent person, but do you take a moment to at least appreciate what you did last year? Like Devontae goes on Max Crosby's podcast, and he basically admits that he had some doubts about whether you were going to be good or not, and now he's looking at you going, he's really good. What does that do for you? How do you feel when you see that?
Yeah, that's awesome. Being able to hear, get some praise from Devontae, who's a guy I played with, and have a lot of respect for it is awesome. That's part of it. Not a lot of people knew what I was about. I hadn't played for 3 years, so just they got practice reps to be able to see, and that's not a lot to go off of. So, being able to go out there and put it on tape and kind of show everybody what I'm about and what this team's about is awesome. But like you said, there's no room to get complacent. You got to be able to go out there and do it again. And obviously there's a lot of goals that, we didn't reach last year and things we're striving to do this year. So there's a lot of, goals and expectations, things that we're focusing on this year that, there's really no room to get complacent.
Do you like the joint practices, and what can they do for a team in the summer months?
Yeah, I do. I do like the joint practices because, at that time at training camp, we're going just good on good against our defense so much that you get used to, seeing the same kind of looks and things that maybe only our defense might be doing. So being able to go against a new team and practice against them and see different looks, see different players is, I think it's very beneficial. Just for an offense too, just being able to see different looks is huge. So I like the joint practices, and obviously we'll have 2 this year, so I'm looking forward to it.
Jordan, what did you do mentally with that last throw against San Francisco? Did you think about it all off season? Did you just compartmentalize it and say, learn from it and it's over? Where's that in your scope of thinking?
Yeah, it's something that's always with you, but at the end of the day, that's what you got to do. You got to learn from it, be able to watch it, break down, see what went wrong, learn from it, and grow and move on. But that's all my mistakes that I made throughout the season. I had a good amount of interceptions where, you go back, see what you did wrong, see what you could do better, and learn from it and grow and try and just, move on to the next play, move on to the next season. But it's something that is always there.
Coming off of that loss, do you feel like this group was a little more hungry to get back in the building because you might have had unfinished business last season?
Definitely. I think every year I've been here, you make it to the playoffs, it's going to be a tough loss, or you're winning the whole thing. So, last year, obviously, that 49ers game being that close and a game that, we had right there and we kind of let slip away from us, it's tough. But it definitely fueled us. Everybody was hungry in the locker room after and ready to get back to work and ready to get back here. And that's why, everybody being here, you can see how hungry guys are to get back to work and get ready for this season.
I asked Steve Spagnuolo, what happened in Green Bay? He said, game plan execution. He said you actually went with a Matt to talk about how well you guys played that night. What's that like for this locker room with that win that you had against the Chiefs and seeing how close you are to maybe a Super Bowl?
Yeah, it's huge. Obviously, that's a really good team. They're Super Bowl champs, and I feel every team you play is a good team. But, like you said, it's a credit to the game plan that the coaches put in, being able to get us ready, prepare for the defense that we might see. So, throughout the week, we go over every look. That was my first start, obviously, and, we had a better plan this year for the all-out pressure, and I think we, were able to go out there and execute pretty well at a high level that game. So, but that's a test every week. You got to be able to put a good game plan in and then go execute it.
Last year, you and some of the receivers kind of connected in the offseason and got together and did some work. Was that a part of this offseason's plans, and did you get a chance to work with some of your guys in here?
Yeah, no, we've had guys that have come out to California. We've got good work in out there. But yeah, as far as getting the group, doing things like that, we're trying to do that after OTAs, before training camp. But I mean, it's always there. You know, there's guys that live out there in California, which is easy, and then some guys, you know, fly in and just get some work in, which is awesome. Testament to their work ethic during the off season.
You talked about this at the softball game, but creating the foundation, is that something you always knew you wanted to do? And just what does that sort of mean to be able to find ways now that this platform is starting to get better?
Yeah, definitely. That's, you know, something I've always dreamt of doing. You know, obviously just making it to the NFL, and you see guys that are doing really awesome things, being able to give back. So it's definitely something I've always wanted to do, and now, you know, being able to set that up is huge, and I'm looking forward to being able to do some pretty cool events and just, you know, be able to give back and help people that need it a lot more than me.
So, Jordan, for those of us that came in late, was there a specific announcement that you're not talking about contract stuff, or what did you exactly do at the start of this? Did you get some questions about it?
Yeah, I got some questions, and pretty much just said I'm not going to talk about it right now.
So let me ask you something different then.
Mm-hmm.
You gave me a hard time for being a little bit of a helicopter beat writer by saying that you need to slide or be more careful as a runner last year. Remember when we had that conversation? There is risk,
mm-hmm.
right? And you're on the precipice of some really life-changing money. Mm-hmm. So just in terms of making sure that whether we ask you about it or not, how do you compartmentalize it to make sure that you can get what you need to get done and you're not worried about the risks that are out there? How do you approach it?
In game, you're saying?
Well, in game or in practice or just between now and whenever it happens?
Yeah. I mean, I think part of the game we play is there's always injuries. There's always risk of that. So injuries are never anything that I've tried to like stay away from. I think there's, you know, I believe in God, and God has a plan for all of us. So it's not anything I worry about. You know, that's one of those things you can't control. So I just try and control what I control. But I mean, in games, things like that, yeah, I'm a competitor. You know, you always got to play that fine line of being smart, sliding, trying to avoid hits. But at the same time, I'm a competitor. I'm going to try and go out there and get what I can. And, you know, if sometimes I feel like I can get some extra yards out of it, I'm going to take that chance sometimes. But it comes down to just being a competitor and trying to win, trying to do what my team needs.